We don't know who's going through what. I mean, it could be someone who just got over COVID, but they got money in their pocket. We don't know. Everybody's situation is different.
Let me ask you
Now,
a question.
yes.
If the governor told you to go to work, you are an essential worker. We're in the midst of a pandemic.
Right.
I want you to go to work. Where you say, look, I got to go work. It's my job. So now you leave your house, going towards work, you get COVID and die. Who's responsible?
The job is. The insurance company for the job is. Because why? Because they told you to go. They said you can go to work. You made the decision as an individual to go to work because you knew you needed to put food on the table and pay the bills because you financially didn't have the capability of doing that. That's why I mentioned a second ago, if you are in a position where you have money, you don't have to go to work. There's people at home that can work from home.
Most people aren't though. You know, in that situation.
Most people aren't, but there are people out there working from home. We talked about that before, Rishi. There's people out there working from home. But to Keith's point,
yeah. But listen, we're not designed to be indoors. We are outside. We're not designed for that.
Well, who said that? By whose account? By whose account? I mean, there's a lot of jobs.
I am designers. You talk to the man upstairs. We're not designed to be sheltering in place and being indoors. It lowers your white blood cell count, making you more prone to getting sick. You need sunlight. You need to be outside. We're not designed to be.
But I can go in my backyard and get sunlight. I can work from home and go in my backyard and get sunlight. Really? What are you trying to say?
But most people are working home like 8-9 hours a day. What about if you have a 10-hour shift? You know, let's say if this happens in the winter time, and you have to start your shift indoors from 8 o'clock, you know, to like 5:36. Yeah, you go outside on your lunch break and you get maybe half an hour. But just overall,
okay, but Rasheed, at the same time, but wait a minute, hold on a second.
Dying then because
let me
getting sunlight.
Okay, let me add to that point though. I'm gonna piggyback what you're saying because I came from the corporate America world a long time ago, and I spent 8 hours indoors, and I came outside for 1 hour. If that at all, if the weather was bad, I didn't come outside. So we designed to come.
1 hour sunlight is good for you. That's good. That's
if the weather was permitted, I didn't go outside. I just said that.
Yeah. So 1 hour sunlight is actually pretty good.
But I'm spending 60% of my day indoors. Then I go home and spend the rest of my time indoors, spending time with the family. I'm barely outside. With the time traveling to work, traveling home, and whatever little time I have at lunch, how many hours I spent outdoors? Let's do the math on that. You'll be lucky if I spend 2.5 hours outdoors altogether.
That's the other 22. That's good enough. As long as if the sunlight's hitting that hypothalamus gland, that's pretty good.
Hypothalamus.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. All right. So I mean, the bottom line is this. All right. But I'm trying to understand your point. So if that's the case, if an hour is good enough for me, that's fine. But you're saying we're designed to be outdoors, and a lot of people don't spend all their time outdoors even before this pandemic started. Now the pandemic is in full effect, people are spending more time indoors, especially the ones who can work from home.
That's your second wave right there.
That's your second wave.
That's your second wave. People, white blood cell counts are going to be extremely low, not going outside, and it's going to make you sick.
Well,
I'm the messenger, man. I'm a person that, goes out there, I research these things and read up on how the human body works.
So then here's the question.
I didn't design us, man. Don't get mad at me.
Hey, no one will get mad. But how come your man Fauci didn't say anything? How come your man Fauci didn't say that?
Once men stop working, then all the hormone levels drops, and that's when you have these heart disease. And one of my aunt's ex-boyfriends, man, bus operator, nothing wrong with the man. He retires. 8 months later, cancer.
That's BS because he already had it before he retired.
He retired. I'm like, where this came from? I said, why these druggies? Listen, I don't want to see nobody die, man. I want to see everybody live long, prosperous lives. I said, but here's a guy who has access to, better nutritionist food. We talked about food on the last thing you and I did, Kenneth, about the food being voided of nutrition due to the Dust Bowl. 7 feet of topsoil being eradicated. So that's one of the problems right there. Why this country we do get sick a lot because there's no nutrition in the food today. You got to eat like 5 servings of kale just to get maybe 700 milligrams of calcium out of it.
Well, that's unfortunate, but that's what we're going to have to do.
Yeah,
that's the unfortunate part of it. So it's good to be in the know, but unfortunately, we don't have many solutions right now, and that attributes to the fear. When you're making an emotional decision instead of an intellectual decision,
absolutely.
These are the fearful comments. These are what's going to happen.
I have a solution. The only solution is revolution. That's it.
All right, revolution. What do you want to put in? Because if it's violent revolutions. Normally that doesn't really work out. Normally, a lot of times you get something worse.
The first form of revolution is always change. That means a paradigm shift in your thinking process. If I can get you to think critically and correctly, then everything will be okay. Why? Because you now have a different belief system. Okay? That's the first part of revolution. People always go to the last part where you start blowing stuff up. Do you know how easy it is to blow stuff up? It doesn't require no thought at all. Okay?
Yeah.
But do you know how hard it is to get a man to think critically about his life, his well-being?
Oh yeah, I told you, man. And no
that's the revolution. That's the revolution.
The average person has the mindset of a 3-year-old, man, or 4-year-old. And it's proof to show you that there is a God out there.
That's emotional thinking right there, guys.
Yeah,
that's the instrument. That's the instrument of evil right there. Emotional decisions, the instrument of evil right there. You got to make sure that you take a step back and give yourself the best chance for a better conscientious and calm logical decision. We all know that. Why is it not happening? Because fear is taking over. We got a lot of people making bad decisions right now, especially people in power. People in position that are in some way or another affecting us. Like Keith mentioned, if you're going to go to work, right, because you have the choice, because the governor and the president and all these guys said we had to go, then I guess we have to go. What are the options we have? And that's where I think we can sit there and equate it to fear, but I have to go to work. You have to go to work. We all have to do something. But I don't want people to run around town saying, oh, well, because that person over there sneezed, now I have COVID. That's the problem we're having right now. If somebody sneezes and coughs like 10 feet from you or 4 feet from you, everybody all of a sudden is getting scared. Well, you have to have it, and all of a sudden we're having a problem. We have an argument.
I got into an argument with a coworker about that. I said, do I look like I'm sick to you, stupid? I said, if I had symptoms of COVID, would I be here? No, I'd be home sick in bed. This is this is really really stupid here, man.
So listen. So at the end of the day, now we were talking about the NFL situation. So at the end of the day, I think we did a great job of covering why all this is affecting, the sports world. But this is going beyond the sports world. I'm going to make sure I'm clear about that. We're talking about human lives. Even the sports players, they're human. As you mentioned, they're human. Yeah. So we are having this discussion about COVID. Yeah, it can be a bit daunting as we keep discussing it, but it's not going anywhere. And it's continuously affecting our lives in one way or the other. And we're looking for sports to save us, to get us away from all the bad things we're experiencing.
Yeah, it's not only sports, it's movies. I mean, there's no movies being shown now. I'm a movie person. I love going to movies. I love watching films. Barrick, I know you're a huge fan of that too. Yeah. So there's nothing, there was a couple of MCU movies that we were looking forward to. Black Panther Part 2. Sorry, guys. I want to buy into the fear and not do the research. And that was a huge success. No Black Panther Part 2. Sorry.
Yeah, they moved it back to 20. They moved it 2 years down the road because they're assuming that this movie theater situation will be fixed. But they want us to take their vaccine. And listen, we're not taking the vaccine. Get it through your damn head. We're not taking your shots. If they want to mandate that, we'll see how that whole thing works out.
We'll see how that works out. Absolutely. We're not taking it. Sorry, Mr. Gates. Sorry, we're not taking your shots.
We have no idea. You have no idea what that shot will do to your body once it's injected
I
into your
already seen
system.
the trials already. People got really sick from it. Couple of
So
deaths.
we're not gonna know for certain, and you still gotta test those viruses. But anyway, guys, I'll tell you one thing. I mean, I wanted to touch base on something else that was going on, and I guess we're going to touch on that in the next show, and that is in regards to what's going on with the football team in Washington. They no longer have a name anymore. They got rid of their rights, and I mentioned in our last show about the Native American and how fast now they're responding, and I had a question about that I wanted to throw at you guys real quick, and I don't know if we want to answer it now or answer in the next show, but it's funny that I mentioned the Native Americans were not getting the attention they deserved. And then they reached out far and wide and they attacked the Washington Redskins. And the name Redskin was equated to scalping. Now, there are other teams in various sports, the Atlanta Braves,
Cleveland Indians,
the Chicago Blackhawks in hockey. You have the Kansas City Chiefs. Those names were considered respectable, but Redskins it was basically equated evenly with scalping. Now look how fast there was a response to the Native American. It forced a major sports team to basically denounce their rights to a name. Now they're just called Washington. They don't have a logo. They don't have any kind of identity.
let me ask you a question.
Okay, I'm going to ask one question. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead, Keith.
How much money did it cost them to remove that name?
Oh, that's a good question because they did not announce that, sir.
Right. The reason why I'm saying this is because I can guarantee you it didn't cost them that much money.
Probably didn't. Probably didn't. You're right.
It didn't cost America any money to desegregate, and it didn't cost Washington residents any money to get rid of that name. Now, their pride might have been hurt, but economically, it didn't hurt them. It didn't hurt them. Why? Because if it hurts them, they're not going to do it.
Right.
Listen, the Native Americans weren't like people dancing around happy with each other when the English and French came over. They were killing each other and in wars when the English and French came over, and these weren't like really, like I said, they weren't happy people. I am just like you. I'm just a human. You are just like me, and just dancing around. No, they were not.
That's the European narrative.
No, that's true. That's facts, man. They were killing each other. They were killing each other too. Humans are humans.
It's called his story. Okay? His story. Not my story, but his story. And in his story, he wins.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. But like I said, I had a question. We're going to do it on the next show. I'll tell you what that question is on the next show, guys.
All right. Yeah, this was supposed to be a 2-part show. Now it's going to be a 3-part show, 3-part series. 3-part series. That's
what happens when you get caught up in a conversation. So it definitely has its merits, and it's a good thing. So but it's just so much to cover, and there's so many different facets of life that this COVID is affecting. So I mean, even though we've probably beaten down an old drum, once you cover everything, you just hope that you help in some way or another inform the world or keep them afloat of what's going on.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. We're gonna wrap this up, guys. Once again, subscribe, hit that like button, share it.
Make comments. That's right.
Make comments. Even though a lot of you know us, comments, man. Comments. Sharing
Absolutely.
is sharing. When you share, the universe shares back with you. Don't be the crabs in the barrel, man. Don't be crabs in the barrel, man.
All right. Until next week, guys. Keith, always a pleasure, sir. Thank you for joining us on the show. Kenneth. Yes.
Look, like I always say, call me anything, but don't call me late for dinner.
Oh, man. You're right about that.
Kenneth, it was definitely a pleasure having you on here. Definitely a pleasure, man. You bring a different dynamic, an interesting dynamic to the show. Us too is we give it flair, but we have a third flair makes it even much better.
All you gotta do is call me off the porch. I'll come.
All right. All
Oh
right.
man,
Thank
it's
you.
plenty of that, brother. It's plenty of that. All right.
All right.
Until next
Thank you
week,
for your
sir. All
time,
right,
man.
guys.
All right.
All right.